we had some transitions that we went through. And in last August, we realized our two best projects were high-grade silver projects. Both happened to be in the Yukon. And so we repositioned the company, rolled it back a little bit, tightened up the share structure, and renamed it Silver North Resources.
All right, Mark, so let's dig right in. We're glad to have you here today with us on Mines Talk. Just quickly before we get into the nitty-gritties, could you just give a quick background in your involvement in Silver North and just a little bit about what you guys are doing? And you just mentioned a recent transition, and so we'd be really excited to hear about that.
Thank you guys for having me. My background, I'm a chartered accountant, and I work with the technical team, all the geologists here who are in the office. And I'm a major shareholder of the company. I've built major mining companies before. And we had some transitions that we went through. And in last August, we realized our two best projects were high-grade silver projects. Both happened to be in the Yukon. And so we repositioned the company, rolled it back a little bit, tightened up the share structure, and renamed it Silver North Resources. Changed the stock symbol to SNAG, which some people like and some people don't. We did that for a couple of reasons. I mean, obviously our best projects were high-grade silver, but really it was about the silver market and what we saw happening there. And it was still a bit unloved back in August. It's changed a bit here early in 2024. But we saw that, silver was going to participate from two mega trends. One being the currency debacle and the government overspending and the devaluation of currencies worldwide. And the other one was technology. And not just green technologies, but silver is one of the best conductor out there. And it's used in more and more technologies, whether it's solar or electric cars, all sorts of stuff like that. It's even used in nuclear, but in small amounts. And so we just looked at this and thought, wow, there's not a lot of silver companies out there, and we have great silver projects. Now is the time to focus on these projects. So that's kind of what we've done and where we've come from. So I'm excited about it and happy to answer any questions you guys have.
First question I have, you've touched upon it, and that's the current status of the company's flagship property, and which one you would describe as that being, and what the next steps in its development might be.
Key project is the Haldane project up in the Yukon. It's in the Keno Hill area, which has produced a lot of silver, one of the largest silver producing areas in North America. We're right next door to Hecla, which is a $3 billion mining company. They're operating an operating mine there. Both our projects are actually right next door to operating mines. So that makes it easy for us. We have all the infrastructure you'll need. We have very good relationship with the communities there. We're right next to a small town called Mayo up in the Yukon there. The First Nations is a group called the Nacho Nyack Dun. We've meet with them regularly. And we're excited because we're going to be drilling on that project later this summer. And we've had previous drill results from that project that we announced in kind of the down silver market, and we're extremely high grade, some of them over 1,000 grams per ton silver. The market didn't take note, or it took note for about 24 hours and then kind of went back to sleep. And so we're really excited to be following up on those high grade results. Right next door at Hecla, they have very similar rocks, the same rocks that we have. They have a large resource there. They're mining it right now. And for us, we want to build up, get to the stage where we can estimate a resource, but that's a ways out. We're still early stage. We have 12 different targets on the project. We've drilled 3 of them and hit silver on 3 different targets. We want to focus on that really high-grade silver.
Can you describe the infrastructure? Like, can you get to the property? And the reason I ask that is in our television show coming, we want to go to the Yukon, and we thought it'd be an interesting property and area to have a look at.
You can drive right in. It's a dirt road. I know you guys are good at driving on dirt roads, but there's a main highway there. I wouldn't take your trailer. I would just take a truck. It's not an easy dirt road, but it is a dirt road. You can drive right in. There's a power station right nearby. The town's not far. You can drive right up to there's a valley that the road goes into, and we're working on both sides of the valley where there's the silver actually outcrops at surface. And then we drill from up on high on the side of the valley down to the targets. And the targets are actually at about the level of the bottom of the valley. But we drill from up there to make the drill hole a little shorter. So if we did ever build a mine there, the stuff is not deep at all. Some of it starts right at surface. Some of it goes right in. And what's exciting for you guys going up there is that you will be able to actually go up there and find some high-grade samples on surface. So if I'm there when you are, or Jason Weber, the CEO, is there when you're there, we can take you up to the entrance of one or two of the old mines that are there. They are kind of blocked in, but around those old mines are some of the waste rock that those guys produced back to the old timers when they were mining with picks and shovels, and you can pick up some samples of high-grade silver.
That's so cool. Very, very exciting. And I just wanted to point out quickly your mention of the First Nations community and the engagement there, because that was something that I was going to bring up. And I was very happy when I looked at the Haldane presentation. There was a mention of that in there. So I thought that was really nice and very important. Just to go on a slight different direction, we noticed that you have done a private placement recently and you raised $650,000. And obviously that's for the Haldane project. But there was also mention of possibly using it to discover new opportunities. And so we were just wondering if there's anything that you can share with us on that.
We haven't announced anything yet, but we are looking at about 7 new projects, all silver, all high-grade silver. Some of them, probably some of the best ones that we really like, are complementary to our existing projects. So they're in those same areas. There's a couple in the United States as well. Again, we're looking at projects that we can acquire fairly cheaply because silver doesn't have a huge following yet. It's just starting to grow.
It sounds like it's an underdog at the moment.
It's in process, though, and I can't say too much, but it is in process.
Great.
That sounds really good. So that would bring us to the follow question to the raise, and that is, so you're currently in a good cash position, and I am assuming the burn rate's not too bad. You should be able to last, but obviously you'd have to raise capital later on, I guess.
Yeah, we just did a financing. We announced $500,000, brought in actually $650,000, and did turn away a fair amount of money as well because we didn't want to dilute the share structure. So we're just over 40 million shares outstanding now. To really do the drill program at the Haldane project, we'd rather do about $1 million to $2 million worth of drilling there. There's quite a few targets. We see the biggest thing that can add value for our shareholders is those high-grade drill results. So we want to do that, and we can use flow-through shares for that. We'll see how that goes. We're kind of biding our time. Our share price has kind of crept up a little bit. We think there's more to come before we want to do that next raise to fund a little more drilling up there. Fortunately, our other project, the Tim project, is joint ventured with Coeur Mining because it's right next to one of their mines. And they're committed to spending $700,000 on that project for drilling this summer. So that's going to start actually in June fairly quickly here.
Tim project, how much of a joint venture partner are they?
They can earn in up to 75%. And they've been involved with it the last couple of years. They did some trenches. And in one of those trenches, so this is right at surface, one of the results was 3.5 meters of 365 grams per ton silver and 7% lead. And those are the same, it's called a CRD, carbonate replacement deposit, the same kind of results that they get from their nearby Silvertip mine. So this is something that Coeur acquired this a while ago. They actually shut down the milling operation, and they went out, raised $25 million in flow through to do exploration in the area. And we're part of that program. So been very successful actually in the exploration they've done. They're very excited to get out and drill our property this summer.
Is that property very close to the other one?
It's not that close. I mean, by Canadian terms, you could say it's close, but the rest of the world would say no. It's right just above the Silvertip mine's actually in British Columbia, and we're just across the border on the Yukon side. So it's right there. It's about, I think, less than 20 kilometers away from their mine. So you would, if there was a mining operation there, you would mine at the site and then just run the ore down to their mill.
So that would bring us then to a question on technology. So how do you see all the new things you're using to make discoveries in that? Is it helping out, and will it help out going forward, would you say?
Absolutely. I mean, at the Haldane project, we went to a presentation put on by Hecla a little while ago about the structure of the deposits and the technology that they have used that has discovered exactly how these things were developed. And so for us, we haven't had to spend any money on that, but I could see our geologists in that presentation going, oh my gosh, of course, that makes so much sense. And knowing the structure of these things better helps targeting your drill. Anyway, we're very excited to be drilling up there this summer on not just Haldane, but also at the Tim project. And again, on the Tim project, we haven't had to use too much technology because it's Coeur that's doing all the heavy lifting on that. They have been drilling in the area for 3 or 4 years now, and know the area very well, know these kind of deposits. There's, I think, 5 or 6 trenches that have hit silver at surface. So they're going to be drilling in and around those and hoping to hit additional high-grade silver. And you have to remember these projects, both of them, when I say high-grade, Tim, could average 300 to 500 grams per ton silver. So that's, 5 or 6 grams per ton gold equivalent. Whereas up at Haldane, they regularly hit things like 7,000 grams per ton silver. That's extremely high grade, very exciting. I think Hecla actually announces some of their results in ounces per ton silver. So these high grade mines are the ones that make a lot of money in a rising silver price environment.
Well, that sounds really amazing. And just to swing it in a little bit of a different direction, in terms of investor relations, we're just curious on what the company is going to do in terms of investor relation efforts and working to enhance shareholder value to expose the company to new and younger investors, because we know that's an issue right now.
And I mean, I'm an accountant and I'm a terrible marketer, but we've been lucky to engage some really good people to help us do that. Right now, we're actually making a plan for the fall, because we're going to be drilling at Tim in June and then drilling at Haldane in July and August. And we'll have drill results coming out late summer, early fall. And that'll be a really exciting time for us. And, you stand in the forest and yell, and no one's going to hear you. So we need to get that information out there and get it. With the rising silver price, I think there's going to be lots of people looking for companies like ours. I think right now we're just at the beginning of a very bullish silver market. People forget that gold's at all-time highs, but silver's at $27, and $50 is something that it's hit before. So we got a long ways to go in silver, and I think that'll bring a lot of excitement in. And if at the same time we have high-grade silver drill results coming out, that we need to tell people about it.
So that brings me to a question. You must have been spending some time at the company building your team. Like you've mentioned, investor relations. Obviously, you've hired drillers for this coming summer. So how's that all going together, getting the team organized?
We have a great but small team here in the office. We have Winnie Wong as the CFO, make sure we keep everything done. And we do a lot of our stuff ourselves so that we don't spend too much on outside consultants. We have our technical team, Jason Weber, who's a geologist, the CEO, and our vice president of exploration, Rob Duncan. And then most of the other groups that we use are contractors. So on Tim, in a way, Coeur Mining is our contractor. They're doing all the work for us with their technical team. On Haldane, we use equity exploration consultants, and they'll bring in experts, and that's a group that has been around for many, many years. They do things not just environmentally conscious, but technically conscious, and they're thinkers. If there's some problem in the program in the middle of it and there's a better way to do things, they'll stop and fix it. And I really enjoy working with those guys, and they've done great. We've had great results working with them before. So in a way, we keep our costs down by having a team that's very small, and then we expand it as we need to with outside contractors.
One follow-up with that. So obviously, when you did the private placement, you used some finance people. I guess they did a pretty good job since you were oversubscribed.
On that stuff, I do a lot of it myself. That's kind of my focus, is working with the shareholders and the investors. So because I've had some successes before, and we built one company that went to $15 a share, I've got people that will back us on these things. And a lot of the people that came in were people who've invested in us before and know that we don't waste money. We're focused on doing the right things for the shareholders, because all of our management team, including us, are all big shareholders of the company. So it's really important to us to keep that focus.
Well, I must say the stock looks good to us right now. We're shareholders and happy to be. We've just recently became shareholders, and we're very happy with the way things look, no question.
Yeah, we did the financing at 10 cents. We're trading at about 15 today. But to me, I'm looking pre-rollback, and some of my cost base on my shares and a lot of our other shareholders is much higher, 50, 60 cents. If you look at it just today, they seem very, very high. But to me, it's like, well, they don't seem that high to me because we were there before. Our shareholders have cost base that high, and I really want to work hard to have some success with the drilling and get the share price up that high again.
Now, as we wrap things up, I have sort of a two-part question. The first question I have is regarding the Haldane project and the private placement. And as I was reading about that, there was mention of other properties in Yukon, Colorado, and Nevada that you guys might be looking for partnerships on. So I'm wondering if that has any relation to any sort of company key risks or challenges, and how does that relate to do what management is doing to address them in terms for Silver North's long-term success?
Well, it's a great question. I mean, for a small company, we did a lot of navel gazing last summer when we reorganized the company and focused on silver. And those other projects, some of which we've dropped, but some of which we still have, we've really put on the back burner, but we are marketing them to other groups. If we don't get them marketed out or optioned to somebody else or sold to somebody else, we'll probably drop some of them. But that was part of the laser beam focus we decided we needed to have going into silver and focusing on our best projects with limited resources. And then you talk about risks, and that is one of the biggest risks. One of them has been financing. That's been a big risk for all the junior resource companies. And of course, the other one is hitting something with the drill. And so both these projects have hit high-grade silver, one just at surface and trenches, but one in several drill holes. So our risks are reduced there, but drilling is still the biggest risk, and getting those high-grade assays is what we're really focused on.
So how do you see the silver market, say 6 months, 12 months, 18 months out?
It's really interesting. The silver market for the last 10 years has been about a 1 billion ounce a year market. It's been fairly steady on the production side. Demand has gone up and down a little bit, but in the last couple of years, demand has been steadily increased. I think last year it was up 17%. So the demand was about 1.1 billion ounces of silver. And so that's a shortfall. I think the official shortfall for 2023 was about 143 million ounces of silver. And that's forecasted to continue. So that extra silver comes out of silver caches that companies or people have, and it fills that shortfall. But that's starting, we can see with the silver price starting to move, those extra supplies of silver are starting to dwindle. So all the silver needed for all the technologies, et cetera, has to come from production. And it's not easy to ramp up production quickly. As a matter of fact, you guys know it takes 5 to 10 years to build a new mine. And so there's probably there is forecast to be a silver deficit for the next few years. And I see that driving the price of silver up.
Well, we're very excited to keep following the story and to come for visits when we start filming in hopefully late summer, early fall. I'm not sure what the weather's like in Yukon at that time, but is it good?
It's variable. It can be fantastic. It can also snow in the middle of summer, so you just don't know.
Welcome to global warming. It's like that here now too. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate your time, and we look forward to doing some updates with you in the future.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
Seeking the inside track on Silver North resources? Look no further than minestalkers.com. Our cutting-edge search tool is not only designed to reveal hidden gems, but also provides real-time stock updates. Visit for the insights and stay for the gains. Seize the opportunity and explore the magic at minestalkers.com. Uncover new investment possibilities today. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video. Let's get the word out there.